Find the volume of the solid whose base is bounded by the graphs of y is equal to x plus 1 and y is equal to x squared minus 1, with cross-sections in the shape of rectangles with a height of 1 that is perpendicular to the x-axis. Let's start by thinking about what the graph of our two functions are going to look like. We're going to have a straight line going through 1, and its slope is going to be 1 over 1. And we're going to have a parabola whose vertex is 0, negative 1, and it opens upward. So this is showing a two-dimensional display of the two functions that we have here. Now, since we are using rectangles as our cross-sections here, we're going to have an area that is equal to base times height. Well, the base, if we draw it in, is going to end up being the difference between our line and our parabola. So the base is going to be equal to x plus 1 minus x squared minus 1. And we are told in the problem that it has a height of 1. So we know the height is 1, and we know that the thickness for the volume is going to be the dx, because it's perpendicular to the x-axis. So therefore, we can set up the integral for volume being integral of our base, which is this one right here that we have, x plus 1 minus x squared minus 1, times the height, which is 1, and then we can put dx at the end there. And now we have to determine our lower and upper bounds. Well, it's with respect to x, so let's look at the x coordinates for our points of intersection. We're going from negative 1 all the way up to positive 2. So those are going to be our lower and upper bounds. And here is a 3D representation of what this graph would look like from one of the angles. Okay, so if we were to simplify what is inside of the parentheses, we're going to have the integral from negative 1 to 2 of, we have x plus 1 minus x squared plus 1 dx. We can combine these two terms together. So I'm going to erase the x at the beginning, and I'm going to put 2 plus x minus x squared. And now we can actually integrate. We're going to have 2x plus x squared over 2 minus x to the third over 3. And we're going to evaluate this from negative 1 to 2. And when we do that, I'm going to continue my work over here. We're going to have 2 times 2, which is 4, plus 4 squared over 2. I'm sorry, 2 squared, which is 4, over 2, which is 2, minus 8 over 3. And then we're going to subtract from that a negative 2 minus a 1/2, or I'm sorry, plus 1/2, because when you square negative 1, you get a positive value. And then it'll be minus negative 1/3, which ends up becoming plus 1/3. All right, so it looks like our common denominator here is going to end up being 6. But first, let's distribute this negative through to each of these terms and rewrite. So we still have our 4 plus 2 minus 8/3. And then we have plus 2 minus 1/2 minus 1/3. 4, 2, and 2 are going to give us 8. So we have 8 minus 8/3 minus 1/2 minus 1/3. And when we find common denominators, we'll have 48 over 6 minus 16 over 6 minus 3/6 minus 2/6. 48 minus 16 is going to be 32. 32 minus 2 is going to be 30. 30 minus 3 is going to be 27. So we have 27 over 6, which reduces to 9/2, which is equal to 4 1/2. Or answer choice B.